Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference of match number 11 of the USA team. We have with us today head coach Jill Ellis and player number 13, Alex Morgan. Before we start the press conference, I would just like to tell you about our interpretation service, that it's done remotely, so you should have downloaded the relevant application and then select the language you'd be interested to use. Before you ask any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. It's important that you mention first the language you'll be asking your questions in, so the interpreters can be ready for it, and then identify yourselves and your organization. The languages that we have available for today's press conference are English, French, and Thai. We'll now give it a start. So who would like to go with the first question? Here in the front, please.
In English. Steve Goff of the Washington Post. Jill, now that we're at this point, almost 3 years in the making, can you kind of capsulize what you feel, what you see coming to this moment?
Excitement, I think, would be the best word to describe, I think, where I am personally and where our players are. I think it's, I think when the tournament kicks off and you watch the games, the anticipation for your first match, it grows. So I think the players are, ready, excited, hungry. I think we feel prepared. I think the process, as you said, has been a long one. But I think the players that we've selected and the preparation has been excellent, and we're just ready to focus on tomorrow's match tomorrow night.
Question here.
Hey, Alex. English, sorry. No, that's okay. Do you feel any extra pressure going into this tournament? I mean, there's a lot of things going on outside of soccer that you have in your life and with the team, with the lawsuit and other things. It seems to me that if you don't go deep in this tournament, that may complicate a lot of those things. Do you feel the extra pressure from that?
Well, first off, I think this team has always had high pressure, especially in big tournaments, and I think that's for a reason. We have a rich history of success within this program, and that's one of the reasons that we set high expectations for ourselves and people set expectations for us. Of course, we have additional things outside of this team that people are going to try to distract us with, or things before that we have put on hold that we will continue to do so remain doing after the World Cup. But for right now, this is our focus, is our sole focus, and this team is united in a way that I've never seen it before, and we are very excited to start the World Cup tomorrow, and feeling quite left out that we're the last day.
Yeah. Question here in the middle, please. In the middle, purple shirt. Second. Yes.
English, Jeff Kasufi, Glasgow Soccer. Jill, we've seen France, Norway, even Australia execute set pieces and corners quite well already. I'm curious if you think that is an area that there's still a gap between teams in the world, and also for you and this team. Is that something you look to save for later in a tournament and not show your cards this early?
I think teams that are rich with aerial presence, I think that's obviously, it comes to two things. It's the quality of the serve and obviously the players on the receiving end. And I think that, the teams that do have, quality in the air, obviously it becomes an advantage. I think it's going to be a major part of this tournament. Already we've seen close to, I think, 50% of the goals, from set pieces in some shape or form. So I think it's definitely a strength of ours. It's something we, pay attention to, both sides of the ball. I think it's something we are good at, in terms of service and targets. So, in terms of what we're going to roll out, I think that we just, we have a lot of different weapons in the arsenal, and I think we're confident in both the players on the pitch and the quality of service that we get in there. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a major part of this. And obviously, you know, the addition of VAR also lends itself to, you know, how set pieces can be influenced, you know, with especially teams that, you know, man-to-man mark. It becomes more challenging to get a hold of players, you know, like in the past.
Question at the back, last row.
English, Grant Wall, Sports Illustrated, Fox Sports. Alex, you're going to go up against a Cal Golden Bear with Thailand tomorrow, Miranda Nil. Do you know her? What do you know about her? Is it kind of cool?
Well, I just met her in the hallway, so it's already friendly
Selfie.
fire.
We had a selfie already.
I introduced myself to her. I was a proactive one, so I already have a edge on that. But I'm really excited to see some fellow Cal Bears. Not only will Miranda be in the game tomorrow with myself, but we have a couple other as well. So it's always great to be able to represent your university. That definitely helped pave the way for my journey here today. And I think it's just it's great to see, you know, other Cal Bears here at the World Cup. And for Miranda, it's just such a great opportunity. And she's a player that has really shown herself well with the Thai team. So I'm looking forward to it.
At the back again, the row before last.
Hi, I'm Clem from Canal Plus France. I'll be speaking in English. Alex, you're the most famous non-French female soccer player here in France. Are you aware of that? And do you feel like you're an ambassador of the game worldwide?
I believe that we all are ambassadors for the game globally, or at least we have to think that way. And I think whatever we do or say, or the way that we play, especially in a World Cup, everything is going to be magnified. You know, we have the microphone and we have the platform here to be able to show all of the 99% of the training that we've been going through over these last few years, and really all of our individual journeys to get to where we are today for the World Cup. But playing in France 2 years ago, I got a glimpse of just the growth of football here. And I think it's just such a tremendous thing for this country to have the World Cup at this moment, because I think it's at a, it's breaking barriers, and there's no ceiling to women's football in France. And I think that the world is going to see, you know, that next step of how many fans come out and really enjoy the game here and support, you know, women's global football. And I'm doing my part to help that as well.
Question here on the right.
Thank you. In English, Amanda Davis from CNN. You, alongside the hosts, have been many people's top tips for the World Cup. I wonder, did you watch France, and did their performance inspire you, motivate you a little bit extra? Are you doing anything differently having seen them? Have you been talking about them much?
Which one, me or Alex?
Yourself, both.
Yeah. Yeah, of course we watch the game. I mean, we have TVs everywhere, because I think that, you know, the players obviously are participating in this, but it's just so exciting to be a part of it. And we're also fans of football. So for sure, you know, there's, I don't think in the massage room, but I definitely think in the training room, the meal room, they're better, you know, everywhere there's TV. So yes, we've been watching the games, you know, and even I think on the buses, they have their phones out. So big part of that, you know, because like Alex said, I mean, this is, you know, it's a global game. And I think, you know, the family of soccer certainly, I think, supports each other regardless of nationality. In terms of France, yeah, I mean, a great first performance from them. You know, I've said this many, many times, but right now it's group stage for us. It's one game, it's Thailand, and that's everything is sort of here, laser focus. But certainly as a fan of football, to see, you know, the crowd, the excitement, just the overall atmosphere. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything in terms of just how it comes across, because you want this great game to just take off everywhere. And I think it was a great showcase game for that, for sure.
And I think just to piggyback on that, just in general, you know, the France game and all of the games we've been watching the last few days, it's inspiring for me. And I can't wait to get on the field, just seeing everyone play and just the excitement on their faces when they score a goal, or just the raw emotion. that's why initially I was like, we're feeling left out because it's very inspiring and I'm ready to get on the field.
Question here in the front.
In English, Meg Linehan, The Athletic. Alex, I know we've been talking to some of the other players in the past couple of days, and focus has been a huge word. You guys take everything, game by game. But in terms of having games only a few days apart, how does that change the mentality that you actually need to go into a tournament where you only have a few days to turn around and then actually have 100% of the focus go into the next game?
Yeah, looking at our group stage games, we have quite a few days in between each game. And so I think it's just looking at that cycle of preparation, execution, and then the performance, and then looking back at that performance and making sure you kind of close that cycle before starting the new one. And for us, we've been through this before. Jill has been the coach of this team for many years, and we've went through this quite a few times. So now it's seeing what works and what hasn't worked, and how we can make sure that we prepare each game like it's our most important one. And so for right now, we really haven't talked about any other opponent other than Thailand.
Let's have the next question here in the middle, the lady, second row.
So hi, Coach. Hi, Morgan. I come from China, from CCTV. So I have one question for Morgan and two questions for Coach. Morgan's questions is the United States team has maybe 13 players had participated in last World Cup, so include you. So how do you think you and your players can bring to team? This is your questions.
Okay. Well, we have plentiful experience within this team. I think we are possibly the oldest team in the World Cup, which gives us a little advantage. But I will say that, a lot of these players who have had experience from last World Cup or Olympics, we can look on that, look at both the successes and the defeats that we've had. I think that's important to draw from both of those. And some of the newer players have integrated themselves as completely as possible in terms of wanting to dive in and not only experience this for what it is, but be a part of it in its fullest.
Thank you. So the coach's question is how to evaluate the Thai team, and because people think your teams and their teams has a big gap between them. And the second question is, do you want to be the first in the group stage? Because some media said if you be the first in the group stage, then when you come to the knockout stage, you will meet some tough opponent.
Well, just recapping, I definitely want to win the first game and get 3 points. Then it's the next part. But yeah, I think we've obviously looked at Thailand. I think we played them, I'm not sure when it was last year. So we have some experience. I think that this is now, their second World Cup. So that's impressive in itself, that now a team has been to back-to-back World Cups. And with that becomes, the experience that you get from that. So I think the players, some talented players, we looked at some films, some technical players. I think they're a team. I do respect every opponent here because I think it's incredibly hard to get here. So the fact that they're here and they're competing and they're ready, we know how we have to be at our very best. And, I think that's the challenge for us is making sure that we identify our opponent, but also make sure we focus on ourselves in terms of making sure all our tools are sharp and ready to go.
Next question here, second row. Yeah, the gentleman.
Bonjour à toutes les deux, en français s'il vous plaît. Julien Collomb du journal L'Union. Pardon.
1 second.
Hang on.
Pardon.
Go ahead.
Bonjour.
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 Can I try out my French on you? Nous sommes très heureux d'être ici.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I just got myself translated. That was brilliant. That must be all right then. Yeah. All right, cool.
Bonjour à toutes les deux. Julien Collomb du journal L'Union de Reims. Simplement, comment avez-vous trouvé l'accueil ici à Reims, au gré des entraînements en public auxquels vous avez pu participer, puis plus généralement l'ambiance qui règne dans la ville et comment vous avez trouvé Reims? Merci beaucoup.
Well,
You want me to translate for you?
yes. No. It's been quite incredible to be a part of this World Cup, because every single World Cup I think has had some sort of progression in the amount of eyes on this tournament, the amount of support of the host country, the amount of stadiums, and the fact that every single game is an individual game, and that it's not a doubleheader with another team or another two teams. So I think that part is great, but just in general, being here in France, you could feel the excitement, around the city of Reims, and we look forward to going to the next cities as well. But it's fun for the players, at least for myself, at least, to be able to enjoy all of the cities for what it is, because this is a journey in itself and an experience in itself. Obviously, there's an end point for us, but to enjoy the beauty of this country is part of it.
Third row.
In English, John Roder from Host Broadcast Services. Question for Alex, really. How different, you mentioned experience a lot, but how different is it coming into this tournament as the world champions? Because in a few weeks' time, you could be the former world champions.
Okay, thank you for that.
Slight negative tone on that.
Well, I've thought about this a lot, because, yes, I was personally a part of the team in 2015, but many of the players were not a part of it. And in the lead up to this World Cup, I just feel like there's so many different things, not everything that I could put into words necessarily, but there is just a different feel, and it feels great, and I think that this team is ready to go. I feel like we are in peak form. And I feel like we're ready to find success in this tournament for the first time as 19ers.
Right, we'll have 3 more questions here first.
John Halloran, American Soccer Now, and this will be in English. Coach, I wonder, have you thought about how you want to approach the group, considering the teams that you drew, and especially having Sweden last, and if you can talk about how you balance the minutes of your players and keeping everybody fresh with keeping some cohesion among your top group?
I have thought about that, and that's about all I'm going to say on that. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's when you go into almost, we characterize it as a sort of 3-game mini tournament. So certainly, I think, again, you can't get beyond the first game, because, I've said this to the players and myself, there's so many twists and turns in this plot that, you just have to be ready to tack in terms of, absorb or examine what's in front of you. And I think to get too far ahead, I think, it can be problematic in terms of looking beyond what's in front of you. I mean, right now it's selecting players for tomorrow's game. And then after that, you evaluate that and then move forward. And I think you have to approach it that way, because I think, again, there's so many unknowns out there that I feel very confident in our preparation for the unknowns, meaning we've had players, play positions if needed to. We've had, multiple players get a lot of playing time, and I think we've got a group that's pretty well vetted in terms of just the minutes and the cohesion and the understanding of what their roles and responsibilities are on the field. So, I think I could say this comfortably. I would feel confident putting any one of the 23 players out there. That's why they were selected, to be ready for this moment. But in terms of, beyond tomorrow night, we got to wait and see.
The gentleman in the white shirt in the middle.
Graham, do you have a question?
Thank you. I have a question in English for Jill, please. Jill, I wonder if you have any response that you'd like to give to some comments that were aimed at you by Hope Solo on Friday. She criticised your leadership and said that you'd cracked under pressure in 2016, being reluctant to analyse goals that had been conceded. Were those comments unfair?
I mean, comments are comments. I think, for me personally, it's, listen, I feel over the past 5 years, made a lot of important decisions, and I have processes to make those decisions and, own those processes. And at this point, everything and every focus is about this group of players that are here and now. Pundits out there, that's part of it. And part of the message to always is to make sure that the focus is on the internal part of the game. And that's where we are. Yep.
We'll have the last question here in the front, please.
Hi, this will be in English. Rachel Bachman, The Wall Street Journal. Abby Wambach, speaking about her role in 2015, said she knew she could either complain and be upset about it coming off the bench, or accept the role she knew would be best for the team. Carly Lloyd, of course, has said repeatedly that she does not like coming off the bench. Jill, what do you think of her saying that? And do you think that it could hurt team chemistry?
No, because I've known Carly for a long time, and that's a special quality, believe it or not. It is. It's, I've said this, whether Carly comes in off the bench or starts a game, she is a game changer. What I know Carly will do is always put the team first. And I love the belief that you want to be on the pitch and that you can be the difference. I think every player has that. I mean, part of when you talk about a team is you say, listen, if you're an injured player, your goal is to be healthy. If you're a player that's on the bench, your goal is to want to be a starter. That's the internal drive that you have to be able to help a team get across the line. So no issue with that.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. We now conclude the press conference.
What's up? I had my hand up for a while. I wanted to